What's up, guys? Welcome back to Stone Coding. Today on this episode we're going to be making a tooltip component, which is just something that'll pop up a message anytime you hover over your component. You can use this for, just showing tooltips. So let's go ahead and import React and then the style sheets. And for this one it'll be a lot of styling, so as we do the styling we will go ahead and kind of explain some of the stuff that we're doing. Once we get to it, I'll explain it kind of step by step. So let's go ahead and define our functional component here, and we'll go ahead and call it tooltips, and we'll pass along 3 different props, which will be text, which will be the text inside the tooltip, and children, which will be the item that you're going to be actually hovering over to show the tooltip, and then of course style, so we can kind of style it as we need it to kind of fit our layout for whatever project we're going to be using it in. Now we can go ahead and write our elements, and it'll just consist of a wrapper, and we'll call that tooltip, which will be what's containing all the content inside the tooltip component. And next will be a span element, and we'll give it a class name of tooltip text. And then also after that we'll go ahead and pass on the children that we are going to be passing to the component. Inside the tooltip text class, the span, you'll see that it's actually displaying the text prop that we're passing along to it as well. And then finally we'll go ahead and export it so that we can actually import it into our project and use it in our main application that we're designing. And that's about it. So we can go ahead and start writing on our styling for it. Let's go ahead and define the tooltip class and give it a position of relative. This is important because the child element will be a position of absolute, and it'll be based off of the position of the tooltip. Go ahead and do the tooltip text now. Give it a visibility of hidden. That way the text isn't displayed all the time, just when we want it to be. And we'll modify that CSS a little bit so that when we hover it over it, it's displayed. Do a little color styling here just to make it pretty. And we will center the text inside of the element. Give it a little border radius. Some padding. And we'll also put a position of absolute. That'll allow us to actually position it where we want it to on the screen. Give it a z-index of 1, that way it'll be displayed above the components or the elements underneath it. Give it a little margin left, that way it'll actually stand off of the element that we're hovering over just a bit. And then this line here will move it up 100% from the bottom of the element so that it's displayed above the element that you're hovering over. And we'll move it over left 100% so that's all the way at the end of the component that you're hovering over. And we'll give it a no wrap here, that way the text won't be wrapped. And we'll give it an opacity of 0 so that it's also invisible. And then here we'll add the transition to it so that as you hover over it and the visibility and opacity changes, it'll delay the effects and it'll give it that kind of slow fade in look that you see when you hover over it. And then now we'll go ahead and add the hover effects, and what this is doing is that when you hover it, it'll take the effects that we're going to define here and apply it to the child element tooltip text so that you'll actually see the transition happen on the child element tooltip text. And then now we'll give it an opacity of 1. So now the visibility has changed to visible and the opacity has changed to 1. And it'll take a period of 0 seconds for the visibility and a half a second for the opacity to change from 0 to 1, where you'll actually be able to see it and you'll see that slow fade in effect that you see when you hover over it. And now everything looks good. Should be okay. So let's go ahead and go over to the app.js file and we will import it, and you will get to see this component in action. Go ahead and import it. There we go. Now we'll go ahead and write the JSX that we need in order to display it on the screen. And since this is calling on child components, we'll have to have an opening and closing tag so that the children are passed on to the component, and then it can display it, and you'll be able to hover over that child component and see the tooltip. Have to pass on a text prop to it. You go ahead and a friend in need is a friend indeed, but a friend in weed is better. Good song. And we'll go ahead and put some styling on here. This is just so that we can give it some standoff from the top of the screen so you can see the tooltip as we hover over it. And then go ahead and create a button here and give it a label of hover me, and go ahead and style this and move it around so we can position on the screen how we need to. And that'll just basically make it flex and then align everything center in the screen. And that should be good. Let's see, let's go ahead and check it out now. This is what it's supposed to look like. Let's see if we did a good job on the first time around. And nothing. Go figure. Let's go back to our code and check it out. See if we can figure out what's wrong here. And it looks like I have forgotten to actually create a return inside of the tooltip component, so I wasn't actually returning any of the elements inside the component. So go ahead and move all this up and put it into the return statement, and we'll go check it out again. And there it is. There you go. A tooltip. And of course, you style this however you want, use it in your project however you want. The link to the source code will be in the description as usual, and that's it for the day. Hope you guys got something out of this. If you did, subscribe, like, and you'll get more content like this from me in the future. Deuces.